everybody. Please go to our seats now to show the event about to begin. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at LTV Studios in Wayne, Scott. This is the first East End Live night with Assemblyman Tommy John Schiavoni. I'd like to first off, let's give a warm welcome for our host, Nicole Ferrar. Nicole is a former TV personality with ESPN, the powerful Foreign War Federation, but she's a local community member, PTA, from Amagansett Free School District. Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome everyone to the first ever East End Update Live. And we are live streaming on LTV's YouTube channel. So if you can either go to their YouTube channel or you can find the link on LTV's website. As this lovely gentleman said, I'm your host, Nicole Ferreira, and I'm very happy to be hosting our very own Tommy John Schiavoni, our New York State Assembly representative from Assembly District 1, covering Southold, Shelter Island, East Hampton, and Southampton, along with a portion of Brookhaven. East End Update Live is a series of public discussions with our local and state elected representatives, where community members will have a chance to find out about the most pressing issues facing our communities. These quarterly events will be bipartisan and will focus on the legislation and proposed legislation impacting our everyday lives. I would like to take a brief moment to thank everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring this event tonight together. And we hope to continue to bring more events like this to our communities to provide a town square format for discussion and inquiry. And to that end, you should have all been offered a note card. We will have a live Q&A session at the end of our fireside chat. So please make sure, if you do have a question, please fill out a card. They will collect them around 7:45, so you have a bit of time. And then also afterwards, we'll have food and drink in the back at 8:15. We are grateful to be able to hold our first East End Update at LTV Studios here in Wayne, Scott, which began in 1984 as a public access station in a garage and has blossomed into a media center which hosts 2 channels of programming on local government, education, and community programming, along with hosting private events. When I made the move from Los Angeles to Amagansett a few years back, I knew that I was joining a vibrant, artistic, entrepreneurial, and socially conscious community. I joined the PTA, I started attending community meetings, and I'm honored to be able to participate in a public series that will get us talking to each other about the things that matter most. My guest today is Tommy John Schiavoni, our recently elected New York State Assembly representative. For 3 generations, Tommy John's family has owned and operated a plumbing and heating business in Sag Harbor. Tommy John started working there at 12 years old, and growing up on construction sites, he became inspired to find solutions to everyday problems. He received his BA in secondary education and social studies and went on to get a master's in liberal studies from SUNY Stony Brook. He became a teacher at Center Morich's school district, teaching government, economics, and U.S. history. Tommy John served on the North Haven Village Board, the Southampton Town ZBA, and was elected to the Town Council in 2017, where he was instrumental in protecting natural resources and preserving open spaces. Agriculture, transportation, sustainability initiatives, and support for the arts and education, and ensuring sound local economies have been his focus. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Tommy John Schiavoni. He's here. He's real, he exists. Tommy John, thanks. Here we go. He's the boss.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. And thank you all for coming here this evening. I'm looking forward to having this conversation, and I'm also looking forward to seeing this evening grow forward, move forward, and having other elected officials come here and give us an East End update live.
Thank you for leading by example. I think that's the most important embodiment of leadership. And thank you for taking the time to meet with your constituents this evening at the illustrious LTV studios in Wayne-Scott. And congratulations, of course, on winning a seat as our representative from District Number 1 at the State Assembly. In case you... Number 1, yes.
Thank you.
And as you noted, not every representative is coming by to meet with the public in this kind of fireside chat format. It's become a rare sighting, like the axolotl. So we're going to ask a lot of questions tonight. So why is it important for you to do this?
I'm from the East End. I'm from Sag Harbor originally, and I was a school teacher, a plumber. I know the area. I also served in government, and when Assemblyman Thiel was retiring, I gave it a lot of thought. There's a lot of work to do out here, and I know the issues. I also know governance. And so I stepped up to do that and really asked you all to support me. And I'm honored to be representative from what is the best district in the state of New York. This is God's country. So.
I agree. Do you know that Tommy John built his own house? How cool is that?
True story. 1 year, 10 months, 2 weeks, 4 days, and 12
That's amazing.
hours.
I built a log cabin with those blocks when I was a kid. That's about it. After finding the copy machine room, what was the biggest learning curve you encountered in your new role in Albany? Anything that surprised you?
I have to say, and Albany is a scene, and there is a significant number of lobbyists in Albany, and that's something that governing on a school board, you really don't get lobbied. They're not hiring lobbyists in the town of Southampton, and you learn pretty quickly that when you're talking to folks and you're inordinately funny, or whatever that is. It's the lobbyists, So, that was something that was new, and by the way, they are upfront with what they are asking you and who they're representing. So, but that was interesting. And
yeah, you're like, oh, he likes me so much. Oh wait, he wants something from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. All right. Well, let's just dig in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh wait, you were a teacher, so I
teacher.
know you've come prepared. He's got a presentation. He's gonna give us a little bit of knowledge about who we are. What is District 1? Will you teach us?
Okay.
Teacher.
If you would indulge me, I bought a tool. This thing. Yeah. It's a weapon, but it's also, so Hudson, if you would, right, this is the seal of the New York State Assembly, and I want to just go over a little bit of governance on the east end of Long Island. Would you go to the next slide, please? This is the 1st Assembly District, and as you heard, the 1st Assembly District it's one of the largest geographic assembly districts in the entire state. There's a couple up near Canada that rival the size, but this is really quite unique. It's made up of 4 towns, the town of Southold, Southampton, East Hampton, and Shelter Island, and a little bit, see that little sliver there? That's Brookhaven, that's East Moriches. So when I say I'm from here, I worked in Center Moriches, which is right here. I'm from Sag Harbor. I actually grew up in North Haven, and I represent the East End proudly. Next one. And the next one, I just did my explanation. These are the assembly districts on Long Island, just to give you an idea of the geography of the areas that my colleagues represent. This is the 1st Assembly District out here. This is Steve Stern, this is Mickey Solage, and then as you get to the city, they get a lot smaller. There are about 130,000 people per assembly district, and there are 150 members in the New York State Assembly. Next slide. Okay, this is my colleague, our senator. This is the size of his district. He is in the upper house as our senator. I am in the lower house as your assemblyman. Next slide, Hudson. This is our congressman. See, we have overlapping districts, and our type of government, our type of democracy is somewhat complex, and we did this quite on purpose. So I always try to take the opportunity to do this stuff. And you can see the first Assembly District goes all the way to Huntington. It's the East End District. Next slide. Now, Suffolk County also has legislative districts. Our representative on the South Fork is Ann Welker, and she represents a very large district. This is the second legislative district. Each level of government has different roles. Next one. These are the 4 towns, like I told you, and the next one, please. And we'll go through these. These are the 4 towns. Again, and these are the villages. Thank you, Hudson. There are 10 incorporated villages in the 1st Assembly District, which is an inordinate number of villages. Next slide. Here they are. Greenport, Deering Harbor, the smallest village in the state of New York. North Haven is incorporated village, Sag Harbor, East Hampton, Sagaponack, Southampton, Quogue, West Hampton Beach, and West Hampton Dunes. They all have their own governments, they all have their own mayors, they all have their own elected boards. Next slide. And then these are school districts. There are 25 school districts out here. Again, each school district has their own board of education. Elected board of education. We love them. You know, it's really God's work. Next slide. And here they are. These are the different school districts from Riverhead east. Now, the state of New York has a lot to do with school districts. There's education law, and a lot of the things that they do has to go through us as well. Hudson? And this is the population, 128,000, and here is the breakdown by age. I thought that would be fun. I don't know. You tell me. Hudson? This is the breakdown according to the Assembly as far as race in the 1st Assembly District. Notice that over 20% is Hispanic in the 1st Assembly District. Hudson, thank you. Now, I would be remiss if I did not point something out here. Suffolk County is a large county. It's got 18 legislative districts. Where we are, out on the East End, we have 2, the 2nd and the 1st. And I'm not talking about the forks here. I'm talking from Shoreham to Santa Murch's east. That means that 16 legislators are west. It's a very west-heavy legislature. But we have great legislatures. Ann Welker is our legislator up here. Greg Dorowski up on the North Fork. Next one. And so this is the flag of Peconic County.
I learned something new today.
Yeah. Each star represents the 5 towns of the East End. This is an initiative that really started at the end of the 50s when we changed things in Suffolk County. It's there. We had some votes, but we could do a whole talk on the possibilities of Peconic County. So the next one, please. And really, I just wanted to go over that, what we do. This is the Assembly District here, and I'll be referring to that, but there are different levels of government in our federal system. So with that, thank you. I am a teacher, can't help myself. So we'll get to the questions
All right.
here.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful. I found it helpful, at least.
Thank you.
And I love any good excuse to use the laser pointer, including terrorizing, well, I shouldn't say that, having fun with people's cats.
We have 2 at home.
Many uses. All right, let's just dig in. As a mother of a 6-year-old and a human being, access to clean, safe drinking water is paramount. Since joining the New York State Assembly as a representative to our district, what have you learned about the greatest threats to the quality of our water, and where does the greatest hope for averting further erosion lie?
The greatest threat to our drinking water right now are these emerging contaminants that we're finding. The PFOs and PFOAs that we've seemingly put in virtually everything has become quite ubiquitous in our water supply. And I didn't learn this as an assemblyman. I learned this, well, I kind of knew of the, I was watching the news, but as a Southampton Town Board member, we were also commissioners of the Hampton Bays Water District. And they have their Wellfield 1 very close to the Hampton Bays Fire Department that used to practice with fire foam. Fire foam was loaded with PFOs and PFOS, very good for putting out fires, right? And then, you know, when they were done, they would just kind of wash it away. Well, on Long Island, it doesn't go away. It goes into the water, and that is our source of drinking water.
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to introduce our newest member of the Southampton Town Board. Tom Neely is with us here tonight. He won his election. Way to go, Tom. And so Tom will be one of the commissioners in the Hampton Bays Water District. But this is going to take a lot of money to filter out this water because PFOs and PFOAs, it collects, it's one of these things that collect in our bodies, and we're really not quite sure what it does. We know it's bad. It attacks the central nervous system. It's very bad for kids and testicular cancer. There's a whole list. But I do believe that the ailments are just really beginning to show themselves.
Okay.
And by the way, so your answer, in the state of New York, we give grants to municipalities to purchase the very expensive water filtration systems that are needed to take this stuff out of our water. By the way, granularly activated carbon filters are very effective.
So like a Brita.
A Brita is actually very good on your thing. Yeah. And I didn't say that. An engineer said that. Because somebody said, yeah, like a Brita? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Granulated activated carbon filter on your faucet, you know, or the refrigerator does a pretty good job at this as well.
It's so important.
Steps.
So important. Thank you. Let's move on to transportation. I don't know about all of you, but I tend to find myself in a lot of traffic. And one of my favorite holidays, other than my birthday, is the ubiquitous Tumbleweed Tuesday, where somehow I can cut 20 minutes off of all my drives out here. So commuting back and forth to Albany, what have you learned about the health of our infrastructure, and how would you grade New York? And what needs work?
Right. Okay. So I've been traveling up to Albany, going through the city, and one of my favorite pastimes doing that is going over every single bridge on the Hudson River, right? You have to go over the Hudson River. My favorite one is Bear Mountain, by the way. And in New York, we got a significant amount of infrastructure money, bipartisan infrastructure money from the Biden administration, and there's quite a bit of construction all along the thruway. So, you know, they used to have signs like, give them a break, you know, they're rebuilding New York. So we are rebuilding our roads in New York, and I'm going to give it a solid B+ for me. But, you know, we also should add that as far as infrastructure goes, and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, New York did quite well. We're putting in the 2nd Avenue subway line. That is still, right, that's going to go north in Manhattan. And also the Gateway Tunnel Project, which is a massive public works to dig a 3rd tunnel, train tunnel, underneath the Hudson River. This is going to open up the economy in the Northeast. Now, once they open this up and they hook up the trains, you know, to the systems, then they can fix the other 2 that we have currently. We only have 2 tunnels under the Hudson River. And because currently they are 100 years old, right? And they need to fix them. Superstorm Sandy filled one of them up with salt water. So, you know, that is needed. And so the infrastructure, we are working on that.
And
I'll get to the MTA in another question.
And that's through the Build Back Better, the funding received from Build Back Better. Okay, from Biden administration.
From the previous administration.
Personally, I'm like, how about thank you for getting the funding passed for the Cranberry Hole Road Bridge. Right?
You're welcome.
We talked about that.
So
hurry up with that.
The Cranberry Hole Bridge, this is the bridge that goes over the Long Island Railroad in Amagansett.
Yes.
We got funding to repair 3 bridges on the line that goes from Remsenburg, Spionk out to Montauk. Sagaponack, there's one in River Avenue in Eastport, and Cranberry Hole Bridge. Now, what we really want, we want more trains on that line, going from Spionk out to Montauk. Now, my predecessor, Fred Thiel, good man, big shoes to fill. He was successful in getting more trains in the morning and the afternoon on that line. So you might have heard of it, the commuter connection. We were running this in the town of Southampton. We have a bus loop. Tom Neely is the guy that put the bus loop together. Okay, I voted for him. But I'm happy you're on the town board to do that. But we would like to see more trains on the Spionk to Montauk line. So what we need to get those trains is we need more sidings, right? This is where trains can pull off, another one can go by. And in addition to the sidings, we also need a signaling system and then some upgrades on the rail platforms at a number of the train stations, and then some work at Spionk. $262 million. But it's also infrastructure that will last for 100 years. So as far as you brought at the top of your question was about traffic out here. Having regular train service would help traffic on the South Fork, and that's one of the things that my team, that we are working on.
Wonderful. I actually like taking the train in. It's very efficient.
It's a beautiful drive.
Yeah, it's easy. Okay, let's switch gears. You were a teacher in the classroom. Let's talk a little bit about education. How are we doing out here on the East End? Are we merely teaching to the test? And what are some of the New York State standards and best practices you find to be most important for serving the needs of both students and teachers and faculty?
Well, I'll say this. Long Island, in particular, we have the best public schools in the world. They consistently rank at the top of the public school list in the United States. Now, in different parts of New York State, very often, we group the entire state in as one state. We are one state, and we're somewhere around 8th in education. We are number 1 in spending the average amount of money that we spend per student in the country. So, we have some work to do there. But here on Long Island, our schools are doing quite well. And the 25 school districts that I pointed to, they're doing a good job with their students. Some of the threats that they are feeling is ending Title I and some of the federal funding that is there for special education students. In the state of New York, we are committed to a fair, sound public education system. So how we fund our schools is a combination of state monies as well as local taxpayer dollars. And if the locality cannot afford the school, they get more money from the state. There's a formula, it's called the equalization formula, and so some schools that are economically struggling, or school districts that are economically struggling, or they don't have a lot of commercial enterprises in their district, the state will give them more money to make that education equal to the other school districts. So we are committed to that, and I have a lot of confidence in our education system.
Yeah, I learned a lot going to the Amagansett School Board budget meetings in the last couple years. And I will say I'm very proud of our school. We're a blue ribbon school, and I constantly tell people how magical it is to have our child going to school out here. They can't believe it. So thank you.
And the schools are our centers of community. Amagansett is a school that goes to 6th grade, right? Or
pre-K 3 through 6th grade.
To 6th grade. Yeah. And then the kids will go to East Hampton High School.
East Hampton Middle School.
But Amagansett, you love the school.
I love the school.
We have some of the smaller school districts on Long Island. Yeah. Oyster Ponds, East Quogue, Remsenburg.
Right?
Sagaponack is a one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah.
My mother went to Wainscott, a one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah. It's charming. Okay, let's talk about the future. Any insights on AI? Are we all going to be replaced? Is C-3PO and R2-D2 going to be raising and teaching my son? I hope not.
Artificial intelligence has incredible potential, and New York is really, we are in one of the leaders in artificial intelligence. We're pursuing it. The possibilities are seemingly endless. And it scares the hell out of me, I got to tell you. Artificial intelligence, it really is. It learns, it teaches itself, it communicates with itself. And so with this potential with all the potential that artificial intelligence offers, we also have to put some safeguards on it. We passed a bill this year. It was sponsored by Alex Bors in Manhattan. It's called the RAISE Act, and that would put some safeguards on the artificial intelligence. Now, if you can think of what you can ask, artificial intelligence, all of the great things, you can also ask it some not great things, and I'm not even going to bring it up here. Use your imagination. But artificial intelligence is certainly something that is here. But another aspect of artificial intelligence is the amount of electricity that it uses.
Yes.
And in upstate New York, they're building data centers that are starting to draw electricity, and we're thinking that with our current rate of electric production, we are not going to have enough electricity, in 3 or 4 years.
To run it.
So, right, to run it, because of these massive computers, they just, it takes a lot of energy as well.
Yeah. I'm just going to go hide in my house and wait for us to all go back to analog. Yes. Speaking of house, let's talk about affordable housing. Let's face it, people resist this movement on many angles. They're worried about population density, traffic, aesthetics of the town. Governor Hochul's accessory dwelling units legislation met with so much opposition, but we do need affordable housing. So how do we get beyond this resistance and make it more palatable?
All excellent questions. I'll start with the Governor Hochul
So many,
one.
right?
That was about 3 years ago, and the thought there and the opposition there was that our local governments, our local zoning laws were being usurped by the state, and that's not something that the state should do. I do not support that in any way.
Yeah.
But then it falls on our localities to provide affordable housing for the community. So it's important to do. I've always been an advocate of this, and we've had a number of initiatives in the town of Southampton when I was on the town board, and some of them went better than others, I'll say. The community comes out, they're very concerned about this, and you say affordable housing, immediately people think of, I'm not sure what they think of, but I'll tell you that on Long Island, the average median income is $109,000 for one person. So if you are at 80% of AMI, as it's called, average median income, you're making $82,000. And so if you're at 40%, right, you're making $44,000. I think that's what we start people in the town of Southampton in our highway department. So affordable housing are generally people who work in the community or teachers and, just people that we need to live. One of the things that I'm concerned about is that our young people are moving out, and they're moving out because they have to.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to find housing, it's difficult with the amount of money that they make, that they just can't stay here. Years ago, we used to have winter rentals, and if you live, you couldn't find a place, you could always find a winter rental and be there from, September to May, and then move in with your parents or friends, or I don't know, camp out at Cedar Point for the summer or something. But you can make it work. But it kept us here.
Right.
And then we kind of put down roots. But on the state level, we are there's a couple of bills that would make some tax advantages for accessory apartments, and also state grants. There's a lot of state grants for affordable housing and for municipalities to put in the infrastructure for housing, right? You need sewer systems, you need electric upgrades, you need roads, you need a lot of amenities to support these things.
Yeah. I can only speak from my experience in Amagansett, but we have an affordable housing development called Gansett Meadows right on 27, and it's beautifully done, and I feel like if we had more communities like that, people might not be so resistant.
And yet the community seems to be okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
I say that tongue in cheek, but
Yeah.
East Hampton is really probably the leader on the East End in affordable housing initiatives.
Yeah. I'm proud to be in Amagansett.
Yeah, and you passed a public referendum a couple of years ago in '22 allowing the creation of a 0.5% sales tax to go into housing funds for the towns of Southold, Shelter Island, East Hampton, and Southampton. So now the towns have a funding stream for this.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank
Let's talk about some legislative session highlights from your current tenure, 2025. My least favorite subject, but it's important, setting the budget. I imagine that you can just ask my fiance, I hate budgets. I blow them all the time, blow the budget, what? I imagine that setting the budget, executive and discretionary, is a big part of the job, and we've had more than our fair share of cuts to sustaining community programs. So what has the legislature been able to do to soften the blow?
Well, I'm assuming you're thinking of some of the cuts on the federal level to the state. Well, I will tell you this. In New York State, we have a $254 billion budget. And how it works up in Albany, in your capital, is that the governor, she is going to present her budget, and then the legislature and the governor will meet and have a series of hearings, and then we will negotiate, dance, whatever you call it, and generally the legislature will put back programs that the governor cuts, and then in return the governor gets some policy measures. That's how we do it. I don't know. It was there when I came. And, so the governor has significant power over the legislature to put these policy initiatives in. Last year, the governor wanted involuntary commitment. It's a big deal, right? So people in New York who, need some help, that the city of New York can detain them and then get them help. Generally, for those who are mentally incapacitated and they're just living in the subways or something. So we're trying to get the help that they need. She wanted that. What we did as the legislature, we said, okay, how does this work? You see, unlike the federal government, in New York, we will push back against the executive. And I like this governor. I'm not, knocking her in any way, shape, or form, but we will negotiate with her, and we do. So we got that one passed. That was part of the budget, and that is now law. But we also did some other things. We got universal school lunches.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, and I did lunch duty as a teacher. That's like. And you can see on the lunch line the kids who are signing. They would have to sign for their lunches if they were on reduced lunches. Everybody knew it. This way, everybody gets free lunches, and it's the right thing to do. We also banned cell phones in schools.
Yes. I'm on wait until 8th pledge.
That was awesome.
That
was.
Yeah.
I just tell you a little story. When I was teaching in my last year, or second to last year, I was doing my thing in my economics class, and 11 kids, I think 11, they all laughed at the same time. Let that sink in. See, before that, it was all individual. I could separate them, and but they were organized. And anyway, I remember that as just a change in my professional life. Like, oh God, they're organized. So. Changing the cell phones, in as much as like we were told it was going to be difficult, it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Newsday headline was like, "Hey, big surprise! Cell phones not in school is working."
Yeah.
Which I just.
The science is there. Yeah.
By the way, the superintendents were like, "No, don't do that," but please. So they wanted us to be the heavy, and then so
Yeah,
we got
good.
that done.
You had to ham and egg that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Using as an example, Riverside Head Start, which received a $2.25 million commitment. What does that mean for kids in our community?
This is fantastic. In the area of Riverside, we had a Head Start program, and they were housed in a building that was built and kind of given to them or rented to them for $1 a month, I think, to house Head Start. Head Start is an early childhood intervention program. They have schools, and they also do universal pre-K in there. And the town found that the building was structurally unsound. In fact, we were actually going to be expanding the building to put the Children's Museum of the East End in it, in part, like they were going to have an annex there. And then we found, the town of Southampton found that the building had to be condemned. It was a bad day. And, you know, and it was unfortunate because, you know, these children, 86 of them there, now they have to find other places, and Head Start is kind of housing them in various places around Riverhead. But they also had a commercial kitchen, and this commercial kitchen was making lunches for the Head Start in Bridgehampton and the Head Start in another place in northern Riverhead, and then the 86 kids there too. So what I did this year, the speaker said to me, he said that he was going to come out to my district. I had asked them, they said that they would come out to the district, asked me what was important to me, and I brought up, you know, the Head Start building in Riverhead. And he came out, and we managed to get $2,250,000 to rebuild their building in the hamlet of Riverside. Now, yeah. Thank you, Speaker Hasty. And he's fantastic, good leader. But the data and the research on early childhood education is so clear. You know, the more words that students know before the age of 5 and 6 years old has a direct correlation between their success in school and you know, how they do later in life. So it's money well spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
investing in our future.
And investing in our future, yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about some legislation updates. This is an important one. What is the Montauk recognition bill that was recently passed unanimously by both chambers, and how do you explain this rare moment of consensus around an issue?
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The Montaukets, you know, people think of Montauk, but the Montaukets are, there's about 2,000 people who are part of the, who are Montaukett. And they lost recognition about 100 years ago. It was 1910. And in a court case of Benson versus Farrow, the judge ruled that they were extinct. And by the way, there are like 80 of them in the courtroom, like, you know, in the courtroom. And he had declared them extinct. And that is what happened to the Montaukett Nation. Now, the bill surrounds the fact that in the United States in 1910, judges did not have the authority to declare a people extinct. That was the role of the United States Congress. So we're not giving them recognition. We are reinstating a recognition that was wrongfully taken from them, and legally incorrect too. And it's very popular in the legislatures in both houses, and now it's before the governor. Yeah. This
Very
bill
exciting.
has been vetoed 7 times.
What?
This bill has been vetoed 7 times.
Goodness.
Yeah, and so the governor has until the end of the year, the calendar year, to sign it, and I'm convinced that she will.
Me too. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put the energy out there.
Okay.
Sign that bill.
She knows me.
I'm going to put the energy out there. Sign that bill. Let's talk about another fun thing out here. Tick-borne illness in our region is a ubiquitous problem. Yeah. Assembly Bill 6047 requires the DOH to publish a statewide report on the incidence of these illnesses. Why do we need to know? I mean, I know why we need to know. And what can we then do?
So this bill is seemingly simple. It's to require the New York State Health Department to produce their numbers and make public their numbers on tick-borne illnesses, species of ticks, and the percentage of ticks that are infected. And with those numbers, you know, we could help our county health departments do more with tick-borne illnesses. Really, it's something that it affects, I think, disproportionately. It affects the east end of Long Island. I can tell you that most of the families and people that I know have had some type of tick-borne illnesses. It's going to help inform our health community, our healthcare community as well as us.
Yeah.
And I know that in Suffolk County, our Suffolk County legislator, she's doing great work. Ann Welker, she has a tick-borne advisory committee. No, that's not the name of the committee. I'm sorry. It's like, and anyway, they have an ophthalmologist who studies ticks in each one of the 10 towns in Suffolk County. So getting real data is something that just does not exist. In fact, when I ran for village board in North Haven, I mean, tick-borne illness was such a problem. I went around and did my own survey. I went door to door and asked people if anybody in their family has had a tick-borne illness. And I remember one gentleman, he kind of had a short sleeve shirt on, and he pulled up his sleeves and he showed me the ports that he had. And he was like, "Tommy, please do something about this." And and I walked away thinking, yeah, we're the village in North Haven. But this is a problem, and it's throughout the East End, and it affects different people in different ways. And that's the part that health insurance companies need to understand, is that, chronic Lyme's disease, for example, and other illnesses, they react and interact with people differently. So this bill is just one step in a lot of work that needs to be done in this area.
Yeah. We've got about 10 more minutes until we're
Okay.
going to start our Q&A, so I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Oh, yes. One last pass for your questions, if you'd like to pass them through, to your attendants here. Okay. Let's, we want to talk about some hot topics for a few minutes before we move to Q&A?
Sure.
Okay. Shall we talk about, just this morning there was a large group that showed up protesting ICE's recent, incursion into our community in Hampton Bays. How do you respond to what's going on, and how do we educate and protect our local communities?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put my statement up from last week. Hudson, would you go? I think it's there. Okay, thank you. Last week, we saw ICE agents in Hampton Bays as well as West Hampton, and they detained some people, and they're gone. They're disappeared. That is particularly troubling for me. I believe that. Well, first of all, immigration is civil. It's not criminal. And I know what the jargon was, the terminology earlier this year. We're going to get criminals off the street. I don't think anybody has any problem with getting criminals off the street. Please contact the police, bring them, arrest them, read them their rights, bring them to a judge, right? If they are criminals, then they deserve to be treated as criminals. And in the United States, the way our Constitution reads, it reads person, not citizen. And words matter in this instance. So this was my statement that I put out the morning of the raids in Hampton Bays and West Hampton. I believe it. I stand by it. I think we're better than this. And it's not just the paramilitary look that these ICE agents have, that like you can just buy an ICE patch, and hide your faces. That's not who we are. And I'm particularly concerned with the notion that if groups become labeled as terrorist organizations, then this group can be used against them too. And these are American citizens, right? Where does it stop? The other part is that ICE is funded in this year's federal budget to the tune of about $227 million, excluding the wall money and all that stuff, which is twice the size of the United States Marine Corps. So we're going to increase this group of guys who show up in jeans and work boots, and they've got. I just don't. I have a lot of respect for our police. They're trained. They go to the academy. They respect people's rights. They they do a good job, in my opinion. I was a police commissioner of Southampton Town, and we did a lot with that police department, and you know what? They're the first ones who show up. So I believe, like I said here, that this kind of operation really erodes trust in government and the police and puts people in danger. So,
Yeah. Thank you for speaking out on that. We've got a few more minutes, so I want to touch on some areas that are important, I think, to people out here on the East End. The Agriculture Committee. You sit on it as the first representative from Assembly District 1, the first one. And
Yeah.
we're a farming community. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, but I saw actually when I was first slated to work on this East End Live update, I watched the Ian Calder. I hope I don't butcher it. Piedmont.
Ian
Well,
Calder.
there you go. I tried to make it fancy. From Balsam Farms, I watched he testified in front of your committee. And why is it important for those in Albany to hear from our local farmers? I mean, I'm a CSA member at Amber Waves, and I know how important it is, but, share with everyone else.
No farms, no food.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that. But out here on the East End, we know that the price of land is incredibly valuable, and so it's difficult for farming families to remain farming in farming for a number of different reasons. If the parents who are the farmers and if they pass away, right? People pass away, and then there's a number of children, and you've got 38 acres in Sacaponic or something like that. Well, that is going to cause some issues. And so we had a hearing up in Albany, and I asked Ian Calder Piedmont. He is the councilman one of the councilmen in East Hampton Town, and he came and testified, and we talked about the purchasing of development rights for properties so that the towns of East Hampton, towns of Southampton, can literally purchase the use rights off of properties. And how this works is that properties in Bridgehampton are incredibly valuable, but if they want to farm it, we can't just take that land away because that's a violation of the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. So with the Community Preservation Fund, passed by my predecessor, Fred Thiel, now the towns have monies that they could use to purchase these development rights. Now these farms, you can't put houses on them. But that's, we purchased those rights. And the family, they got several $1 million for their property. But that field will stay a farm forever. We purchased a farm in Bridgehampton. It was about 37 acres, and the farm, it cost $46 million. Yeah. The neighbors put up, 48 million. The neighbors put up 18 million. The town put up 30 million. And it's this large piece of land, and it will always be a farm. Yeah. We need it. So, and we have the money to do it. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that we were talking about in the public hearing up in Albany.
Yeah. I feel like I feel so lucky to be so close to a large source of our food. Like my son knows where his food comes from. Right? He walks across the street to Amber Waves, across the street from his school. Oh, I'm picking tomatoes and eating them right off the vine. That is not normal for city kids, for sure. I've learned that. And I'm so grateful for that.
Amber Waves is awesome.
Oh, I know. I'm partial. I'm inherently biased, right? Party to that, let's talk about the East End commuter connection. No, we already talked about that. Take that back. Aquaculture. What is it? And why did the Department of Agriculture award $1.2 million to 17 East End small businesses to grow the industry?
Oysters, clams, and kelp. We're looking for markets for sugar kelp. This is farming in the water. And the state of New York and the county of Suffolk have teamed up to give out leasing rights to farmers to grow oysters out in the bays. So it's created I love oysters. This is created a burgeoning business that used to thrive out here. And so now we have these businesses that are growing oysters. Now, that's twofold, and I'm thinking that you probably know that oysters filter about 50 gallons of water a day, and and they're producing an oyster, which is a very valuable commodity. So the $1.2 million was a grant for equipment that these aquaculture farmers needed, and so the state of New York provided that.
That's wonderful.
Oh, by the way, up in Albany, one of the many things, we have a thing called the Taste of New York, and different counties would bring their stuff, and people had honey and apples, and we had oysters.
Yeah, yes.
And it rocked.
The most popular booth. As a partner to that question again, commercial fishing operations. What is the, LaPointe?
It's called the LaPointe
Report.
Yeah.
And why is it important to keep younger people in the industry?
Any commercial fisher people here? Okay. The first Assembly District, it's got the 3 largest marine fisheries in New York State in the first Assembly District. So the LaPointe Report looked at our licensing procedure for our fisheries. Again, this is a legacy industry that we want to keep here. And so one of the things that we are working on is the licensing for commercial fishermen in New York State. So that's a bill that I have in right now. And it's actually going to give fishermen and women who put in for a license kind of a greater chance of actually getting one. Now, you're probably thinking, why not just give people licenses? Well, we don't do that because we now have the technology to completely fish out the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
So the United States government has set strict quotas from Virginia up to Maine. And New York has a certain quota, therefore we issue a certain number of licenses, and we fish a certain amount of fish. And if we didn't do that, we would, there wouldn't be any more fish.
Yeah, we wouldn't have any more. We are getting close to the Q&A session, the live Q&A. But before that, I like to lighten things up a bit. I'm a big fan of Inside the Actors Studio, and so if you're familiar with that show, at the end, James Lipton, the host, asks some rapid-fire questions, and we're not going to ask the same ones, but I have a few here that I'd like to ask you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. This is because your last name is Italian. What toppings are on your ideal pizza?
Meat, pepperoni, sausage.
Okay. Meat lovers.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure everyone's going to love this one. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Don't have one.
What? We got to get
My
you
go-to karaoke song is asking my wife, Andrea, to sing.
That's a good one. That's a good plan.
And I'm sorry, I'm working on that.
You could do a rap. You could do a rap song. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
A priest, a plumber, then a teacher.
You were 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Not bad.
Yeah, I went to school to be a teacher in my undergraduate.
Yeah.
And became a teacher.
Yeah. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
The ability to know what older folks know. I always, like when people reach the end of their life, I was, okay, this is a little morbid, and I'm sorry, but I just I've always been like, wow, all of the information, your knowledge, I would love to be able to know that. So
All the
I
things
don't know if that's a
the most
superpower or a
important
very
things
weird
before
thing.
you go. I think I know what this might be. What is one item you could never live without?
My wife.
Oh, that's good. I thought he
No,
was going
you're
to
not
say
an
the
item,
pointer.
honey, I'm
She's not an
sorry.
item, but I thought he was going to say the laser
But
pointer.
you are an item.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
Be where you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to be doing, and give it your all.
Do you mind if I ask who gave you that advice?
Dick Casentine.
Nice.
He was a tank driver, World War II. He served under Patton in the
Wow.
3rd Army, 9th Armored Division.
You take that advice. That's
And he
for
said
sure.
that with a cigar.
Oh, even cooler.
Like, okay.
What is your favorite way to spend the weekend?
Sipping coffee with my wife.
Your wife sounds like one heck of a woman.
She
Can I
is.
take her out for
She
coffee?
is.
And finally, what is your definition of success?
Happiness, giving back to your community.
I like that. Okay, and then the final one I am going to steal from James Lipton. If heaven exists, what would you like St. Peter to say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Good job.
Good job. All right, thank you. Okay, have a sip of water, Tommy John. We're going to get into the Q&A section. Okay.
Can I take a moment just
Yeah,
to
please.
introduce
Yes, of course.
my wife, Andrea? Thank you. You've been with me in all of this. I love you. Thank you for being here. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my staff.
Yeah.
My district staff is here tonight. Denise McRedmond is here. My district director, Cole Uskremski, my legislative director, and Aiden Klarman, my legislative aide.
Hey.
They're here. The best staff in the state. I appreciate you guys. They do an insane amount of work, and you guys are fantastic. And Lisa Lombardo up in Albany. She's in the Albany staff too.
And Hudson back in
She
the
might
booth
be
with the
watching.
slides, right? Hudson with the slides, right? Yeah?
Oh,
Is that him?
I meant my staff.
Oh, on your staff.
But
Oh, just
Hudson.
kidding. I'm just kidding. What do I know? Thank you. Anyone else?
No, that's
Okay.
it.
All right. Let's get to it. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Is it Niede Valera? Did I say it right? Close. Okay. My apologies. Okay. Her question is, what improvements could be made to public transportation on the East End, especially the commuter train that serves our local communities and businesses? What would be the timelines for these improvements to become our daily reality? Thank you. And a smiley face. Very, very kind question.
$262 million, number one,
Yeah.
right, from the MTA and make the sidings and the improvements in the railway, the train stations, and updated signaling system. That's on the railroad. I believe that would help, but would not solve. As far as our roadways, that's a tougher one because the state was going to put a highway in back in the 1960s, and we stopped it. I don't think we did a bad thing or the wrong thing, but they knew that we were going to need that kind of highway, and that is the infrastructure that we need to solve our transportation problems. Doubtful that that's going to happen. I don't want to be that guy, but it's hard to get affordable housing in, let alone a highway. So I believe that we can locally improve our intersections, right? Put roundabouts in and have traffic go smoother. East Hampton put a great one in at Stephen Hand's Path.
I love it.
Yeah, we're putting one in up in Greenport where 24 and First Street meet. So I think those things can happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for submitting your question. And thank you for answering. Our next question comes from, is it Teresa from Springs? Teresa. Her question says, I am very concerned about the safety of our Latino neighbors and especially the mental health of their children.
Do you want to go?
ICE and the fear of families being ripped apart is causing great harm and inflicting terror. What can be done?
That schools have been doing a great job with our children in this area. But when ICE came into Hampton Bays and West Hampton, the fear went through the communities like electricity. And the kids know this, and all the kids know this, and it becomes very divisive for the students. And we need to take, I believe the schools and the parents, they could do more. I'm sorry, our schools do a great job. I don't mean to lay it on. To tell you the truth, I don't know, because this is a federal program, and they're going into our communities and really creating a divisive situation, and it is affecting our kids, and not just the children of Latinos who are here, but all of the children in the community. So I believe it's up to us as community leaders, as schools, to work together for for those. And I have to say, there's more we can do. With my monies this year that I was able to get for the first district, I focused on food and mental health. And so we gave monies to various, like CAST up on the North Fork and OLA down here on the South Fork, and a number of the food pantries, kind of like, because we knew this was coming down.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say.
I do think OLA
Poor answer.
has been really helpful for a lot
They
of
have.
businesses and families out here in the East End.
They have a crisis committee, and,
Yeah.
but for the families, and I think this is more of a general question
Yeah.
for the kids in the community.
Yeah, yeah. The next question is from Michael Kegler. That's you. I knew that name. My question, he says, relates to redistricting. Is the state of New York considering any measures to change the boundaries of congressional districts in the state prior to the midterm elections? Great question.
It's a great question. And by the way, all of these are great questions, and I thank you for the earlier question, because it's part of what we're doing here tonight, is to hear from you. As far as redistricting, you know that the president has asked Texas to redistrict, and they were like, sure, and they did. And, they've got 5 new seats that are specifically designed for one particular party. In New York State, we made it difficult to do that. We actually put it into our Constitution that we need an independent redistricting commission, and that if we wanted to do this, we would have to put it up this session and then pass it the next session, and then it would have to go to the voters, and the voters would have to approve a change, and in order for New York to redistrict between censuses. That's the issue here. It's like, this is mid-census. We take the census every 10 years. We're in the 5th year, and so they did it mid-census, and it's very difficult for New York. There are a couple of bills that are starting to do that. So we would have to pass it. It would have to go through the legislative process, signed by the governor twice, and we would essentially be undoing something that we had done in our Constitution. Some people call it the race to the bottom. Like, why should we do it? We don't believe that gerrymandering is right. But one particular party, at least the leadership of the party, believes that they should do it and are doing it, not just in Texas, Missouri, Ohio.
Yeah.
But way to go, Indiana and
California.
Well, California did on the Democratic side, but Indiana and Kansas, I think, or Missouri, Kansas, they said, no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what we would have to do.
Okay.
So it would take a while. And by the way, by the time we do that, it would be 2028.
So not in
Almost
time for the
to
midterms.
redistrict anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. The next question is from, is it Joelle? Joelle Parker from East Hampton. Okay, I got to put my glasses. You have really beautiful small writing. Okay, hold on. It's like on a grain of rice. Oh my God. I told you. I'm not that good. The question of security versus invasion of privacy comes to mind with flock cameras. What can we do to keep our neighbors safe with all the movements being monitored? Flock shares their data with 373 plus agencies. FOIA requests, I hope I remember that, revealed that nationwide officers ran 4.4 million warrantless searches. Taxpayers are paying to tear our own community. Taxpayers are paying to fear. I'm sorry? Okay, our own community as local police around the country have provided ICE with backdoor access.
I have to ask, and I'm probably not the person to answer this question, what is a flock camera?
So we have 10, this guy, he's much more knowledgeable, but we have 10 flock cameras in East Hampton. Flock cameras are, can you tell me what they are?
Automatic license plate reading systems. There's over a dozen in the South.
Oh, with the police force.
Oh.
Oh, right.
All of us driving here were definitely picked up by multiple of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're a privatized $7.5 billion tech startup, and the data's not encrypted.
Right.
Oh.
Right, and in Suffolk County, we have them as well, and we catch people.
At the police department level, specific villages or towns basically pay a subscription fee for this, and then our tax money pays that subscription, but the data is then sold externally.
Right.
It also was recently hacked, and much of this data is now on the dark web, so yeah, just that.
And it's data on people's license plate. Okay, so this is why we're here. Thank you. And well, I know license plate readers exist, and like many things in government, we do farm them out to tech companies or companies that can handle the situation. Don't worry, it'll never be hacked. The Defense Department was hacked.
Yeah.
So thank you. I frankly don't have a great answer because we're going to go home and take a look at that.
Yeah. Maybe you could
I'm not
chat
gonna make it up.
afterwards. Yeah, no, maybe you could chat afterwards and write in, and they can be in contact at a
Yeah,
later
well,
time.
and that's an issue, and particularly after 9/11, the cameras became ubiquitous in our cities, and New York City's got thousands of them, and they're watching every sidewalk, and they've got face recognition software and data that can look for people with red sweaters on or whatever, so okay.
I really need to expand my worries because I'm only worried about getting the speeding camera. Oh my God. Okay, do some breathing exercises tonight.
By the way, you know those flashing cameras that tell you how fast you're going?
Yes.
The ones like if you're in a 35 and you're doing 37, they're telling you to slow down.
Yeah.
Pet peeve. But they're also reading your license plate too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Big Brother is everywhere.
Well, but it just stays there apparently.
Wow.
Some of them do not turn the camera on. Some, so they have data. With those things, they're collecting data on speed, the amount of cars, and it also can read license plates. But most of the villages, I'm told, like they don't even want to go there, so they don't do that.
It's just as a
But they
preventative.
can.
It's just as a preventative for people
Right.
to slow down, be aware and slow down.
Right, so,
Okay, thank you.
sorry.
The next question is from Nancy Greenberg. She has a two-part question. First part is, why do you think cancer is so prevalent in Suffolk County? Do you think the water is a contributing factor?
Well, that was what we
Answered,
thought
yeah, a
a couple
little
of
bit
years
earlier,
ago.
yeah.
I do, but I'm without knowing the statistics and getting people who are smarter than me with this on it, because there are a number of variables in Suffolk County, our demographics and a lot of other things, which could be causing this. But
Yeah.
I do not know.
Yeah.
But water is certainly one of these issues that need to be looked at, and it can cause cancer depending on if there is anything in your water. By the way, you can get your water tested from the Suffolk County Water Authority if you are on a well. It will take you about 6 months, but they'll come and they will test your water.
Thank you. And then the second part of her question is, what do you think will happen between the Shinnecock Nation and the town of Southampton?
That
Their
is-
seal. That's right.
What do I think is going to happen? I do not know what is going to happen. There's a couple of issues there, namely the town of Southampton has sued to stop the Shinnecock from building a travel plaza. This is in Hampton Bays by the monuments, right? There's also a suit from the Attorney General's office from the state of New York on the monuments themselves. The monuments were built in the highway right-of-way, pretty clear violation of the Interstate Highway Act. They're 61 feet high and 16 feet wide. So New York, that suit is ongoing. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the town of Southampton. I can tell you what I said when I was on the town board. And when we voted to bring this suit against the Shinnecock Nation, I voted against it. And the reason why I voted against that suit is because the town of Southampton has been treating the Westwoods property, that's what it's called, it's about 95 acres, they have been treating the Westwoods property as a reservation. We have not taxed the Shinnecock ever on that land, nor have we also designated it INDRES. It's either indigenous or Indian, I'm not quite sure, but that is what that property was designated as in the Southampton town zoning. So my personal view, and this is what I said when I voted no, is that the town is going to spend a boatload of money and we're going to lose. So that's what I said when I voted no. So
He said what he
but
said.
now I'm in the assembly, and that's an issue with the Southampton Town Board. Thank you, Tom.
It's your
but
turn
it's
now.
it's the Southampton Town Board, and like that is going to play itself out. I try not to get involved in their stuff because they can handle it.
Yeah. Thank you. And then we have our final question of the night from Pamela Topham. Hi, Pamela. Her question is, can private businesses be stopped from buying so many other businesses? Recently, the Shelter Island Pharmacy recently stopped filling prescriptions on the island. Oh. There's no pharmacy on Shelter Island anymore?
That's right.
I'm so sorry.
Solubev family. There's one particular. I try not to call people out individually, because they own a lot of property on the North Fork, and they own a pharmacy that was in Shelter Island Heights, and they closed it down. And it was the only pharmacy in Shelter Island.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the unique aspects of the First Assembly District. We have islands. We have Fisher's Island, Shelter Island, Plum Island, Gardener's Island. But so on Shelter Island, there's no longer a pharmacy, which is problematic because there are senior citizens that need medication, and other people need medications on Shelter Island. We are also a free market economy, a society that believes in free markets, and people can open up their business or close them as they see fit. It's not necessarily incumbent upon this business to supply pharmaceuticals to Shelter Island. That's like what they're saying, and it's very unfortunate. I reached out to Stony Brook Medicine. They've got an office there, and they're looking in to see if they could do it, but I don't think that we can actually force someone to sell products that they don't want to sell.
Yeah.
No, I know it's wrong. It's like. Well, it's a good question, and I know there are some services that will deliver, and like they'll send them to your home, but I don't know. A lot of the questions I don't know a lot about, and I appreciate them, because that is an unfortunate situation on Shelter Island.
It sounds like also an opportunity for someone who's always wanted to open a pharmacy or a general store. Yeah.
So I will say this, I will be here. We're going to have some food, and so please stay. If your question was not read and you would like to, ask me, I will certainly stay and talk to you. So for however long that takes, and I certainly appreciate your willingness to be here and listen to me. It is an honor to have you here, and your willingness also to participate in your own governance.
Yeah.
So thank you to you.
Yeah. And thank you, Tommy John, for taking the time to spend with your constituents tonight. And thank you to the East End and Southampton Democrats for helping to put this event on tonight. Very much appreciated. And thanks again to all of you for coming out. Please join us. In the back here, we'll have some light bites and refreshments, and then you'll get to talk to Tommy John a little bit more if you'd like.
And everyone, Nicole Ferrara.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. This is going to be the first of
That's
many.
right.